Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Monday, April 28th, 2025. Welcome, traders. We're doing this intraday about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these intraday videos, consider supporting the channel by becoming a YouTube 99-cent a month membership. Today we're going to look at the usual SPX, SPY. We'll glance at ES, and then we'll do it on the daily time frame, and then go down to the 65. Go around the horn on the daily for the other indices. I don't think we need to go down to the 65 at this time for those. And then I want to show you and focus on these scenarios. The market is giving us information, and we need to tighten up our situational awareness so we know what we can trade. I think to the downside is imminent. We're showing weakness today, and I think if you're a bull or a bear, you're looking for a dip in the market to test the lows. Nothing's changed with that. And then what happens after that should be very telling, and I think we'll have a great buying opportunity either way if we make a new low. And not all items, some individual stocks can make new lows. Maybe the market makes a higher low. And IWM is, in my opinion, the one that shows a new low coming the most probable situation. But that doesn't mean that the Qs can't make a higher low. So I'll show you all of those situations, and then SPY can be right in between. Okay, maybe SPY just slightly dips as a new low. All right, so I'll give you all those situations coming up later in the video. So make sure you play the whole video 1.25 or 1.5 speed so you can get all this information really fast. And I think it's really going to help today. So stick around. All right, so SPX on the daily time frame, and what I think we're going to focus on is not necessarily the targets. Price could get down to these levels. I'm in a situation where I think we're really going to have to wait to see what price action happens. So we'll take profit early in any dip here and let the market do what it needs to do. And this could be a good spot here around 5,000. But if the market makes a new low, then 50, we continue to talk about that green area. Okay. So what I want to focus on is the situation that the market's giving us. The market is saying, with this new high here in the near term, it's giving us a wedge type pattern. And I think that matches all of the indices and most of the individual products. And so this is our focus now. And I changed those counts for you. But what this is telling me is two things. All right, let's keep it simple, stupid. KISS, right? Diagonal. So it's a wedge. Is this a leading diagonal where we make a higher low and start going higher? Okay, bulls and bears will both look into that situation. Or is it a wedge, bear flag type wedge, bearish rising wedge, and we make new lows before screaming to the upside? Both those scenarios are completely valid, and it's a buy the dip scenario. I just don't want you to buy the dip too early. Okay. But I will give you a alternate scenario if the wedge holds and we break out from the wedge. That has happened. That's not a scenario that happens often, but make sure you stick around for that. So let's look at some of these indicators here. So if price action wants to hold the wedge, that's going to be so bullish, on an impulse move to the upside, and we'll hold that 20 moving average. So that is a situation. I'm not sure that's not my most probable situation, but if price holds this 20 simple moving average, then I think we could hit our targets higher from that point. But that's actually not even the bullish scenario. So I don't want to make this too confusing. So let's see if we break down from the wedge or not. We have our moving averages. We have the 50 up here. Not sure we're going to hit the 50 at all at this point. The McClellan oscillator. All right, overbought situation. Completely overbought. Today, negative divergence. Yesterday, negative divergence. This started to come down, even though price action on Friday was heading upward, and that was due to Nvidia and Tesla. And now that those individual names, a lot of individual names, really broke that downtrend line or are trading through it, I don't want to keep that on there. I do think and I'm going to label this as we have a bottom here, okay? And that doesn't mean we can't make a new low, but this is part of the same structure. It would be an expanded flat. Now I'll go into that more into detail in the 65. Okay, so if we do make a new low, we'll be looking for a positive divergence. We're rejecting off of this downtrend line at the RSI, and we're starting to curl over on the slow stochastic. So we'll keep a really keen eye on this in our dip. So when we start to hold the lows or break the wedge, we'll see how far until we get oversold. And oversold on here, we'll probably make a positive divergence. We'll see what those indicators will look like as we break down. DMARC. 4 count, nothing really see here. The only way we'll probably get a 9 count is if something happens to where we get really bullish and we hold this trend line, we get a 9 count up into our higher resistances, and then we see a move lower. Awesome oscillator, getting to the neutral position, and we'll see where that goes from now. So we're in neutral to bearish at this point. And let's go to SPY. Okay, SPY with our money flow index. Getting really close to that overbought scenario. So the money flow coming in. Do we come back down and make another positive divergence? We'll see. Or does this just stay positive? All right. On the pullback. Or do we just go into a oversold situation? There's nothing to trade off of this indicator at this time. Okay, we're not overbought, and then we are in puts, but not because of this indicator. Bollinger, no trade set up on the Bollinger Bands. And so the volume shelf, this is if we do make new lows, we're looking at this volume shelf. All right, and it should be a quick snap. If we do, shouldn't be dwelling down in this area, but we do have again this would be right here, that standard deviation from the point of control here. That would be around that 500 area we're looking at, or 5,000 area on the SPX. If these were the good lows here, and we decide to go there, maybe IWM makes a new low. SPY holds a really shallow low, and QQQ has a higher low. Maybe that's the scenario. We can't predict that. I'm just giving you these outlooks to look for when and if we get down to those points. Elliott oscillator, nothing to see there. Okay, so let's look at some of these boards here. We have a lot of new boards on here, so let's do the traditional look first. Again, this is not, I'll leave this on here just for reference. I took it off of SPX, so we have a nice clean chart. And here we go. So the top of our buy area is still the same. So if we get a brand new low, this is where we're going to start buying into. Yes, it could. That's a big range, but I think that will snap. I think it will snap back really well. We're going to look for timing. So we have a timing cycle from April 30th to about April, I want to say 5th. So let's see what happens April 3rd. So let's see what happens the end of April to the beginning of May. I said April 3rd, I meant May 3rd. So let's see what happens here. Again, I'm keeping these cycles separate. And so don't look at any of these wave counts. I want to bring time and price. The board, I want to keep a non-bias with it now. So this is a new way that I'm setting things up. And I already cleaned this up on the 65. So our timing, let's look to see where price is. Do we have lows in this time period? Or do we go higher and then we look for a reversal there? Okay, so our expanding ending diagonal. All right, so this scenario, I think if we are bullish, we're going to keep this scenario alive where the low is in. All right, there's still a way I can do it if the low is not, but let's just keep this alive. Let's say the low is in. This is a ABC correction. All right, and that's what our thesis is that however you count this, to me it looks clearly a three-wave move, but it could be a part of a larger correction. So however you look at this, wave 4 could be in. I want to say the low is in for the structure. Okay, even if we dip and make a new low and snap back, we're still counting this as this structural low. So wave 4 in a bullish scenario, and then we make new highs here. So do we end up holding this cluster, this Fibonacci cluster here at 510? Keep that in mind, 511, 510 area. Keep that in mind for when we go down to the 65 minute. All right, and then we'll look at the 5,000, a little bit lower section here. I'll show you those retracements when we get there. All right, so the next in the bullish scenario is at this bearish rising wedge. Our top is in, and again, I want to say this low is in, but we do have a target at 472 if price action wants to make it down there, and that goes into our range that we had earlier. But this low is in, and what we're going to do is look for a B wave. So I think A is in at the 50% retracement. I know it crossed over a little bit. It's a zone. We're in a pocket. We're looking for a B. So we're looking for that. The larger degree A is done, even if we expand down to a B. Okay, so now our lesser degree A is in. We'll see where the B wave. We have no idea if it's going to be here at the lows, double bottom, or even an expanded flat down here all the way up to and then a 5-wave impulse move up to a B wave. And even if we count it like this and IWM has a new low for the 5th wave, the zigzag is probably going to look exactly the same as our 5-wave impulse move to the upside to complete the B wave. So I think this is going to be a ripper face-off rally after we get new lows, no matter where the low is in. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right. So sorry, the B waves can be anything. So there's no way of telling where to buy the dip. So if you do start buying early, give yourself, I'm talking plenty of time. The in-out spreads, will give you plenty of time if you use those to catch, falling knife, okay? And I'll put that video up top here. I'd keep harping on these in-out spreads because they keep working for us. So it's at the 15-minute mark, I'll put it up top. So let's go over to the Qs. Okay, here's our wedge. There's our wedge. We're showing the same thing. Do we get a new low or a higher low? That will be the question. Doesn't matter. There's unfinished business down low here. That's our 2009 trend line down lower here. If we get there. Again, we're trading around these downtrend lines. This is not our main scenario. So this might be a little different. SMH might end up being, a good leader here. So this one still could remain as a ascending triangle where we're getting a double top here. If it breaks, then so be it. Let's see where price action goes from here. We're going to ride these puts here for a minute. IWM, there's our wedge. All right. I do think this one is more probable to go to the new lows within this channel and comes down to the bottom of the range. All right, and that range was from this previous range. DIA, just the weakest one so far, has not made a new high here. Still having trouble getting back into this channel. This might end up being, new lows here if it continues to be the more bearish outlook. So pretty much the same as IWM. Now VIX has been telling us all along, and I clearly didn't pick up the fact that if the VIX is forming a wedge, a bullish falling wedge, then why would the rest of the market here? And so this is pulling into a timing low area. We're in that timing the low talked about in the Discord today. And do we make new highs? Okay, this is one of those things that we're going to have to look at in this next move. We had the wedge here. We had a wedge here. Made new highs. Is this one going to make a new high? Maybe SPX makes a lower high. A lower low, while the VIX makes a lower high. Okay, but this wedge, to me, it just looks like another continuation move to make a new high. If that's the case, then, let's see if we can get those new lows in that buying opportunity in SPX and SPY. Okay, and along with the occasion, I we talked about this quite a few times that, this broke out already. We had these lows in. Bitcoin's breaking out. If the rest of the market is pulling back from its wedge, I would really like to see a back test, or a higher low. Maybe this is a wave 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Or maybe it's just a zigzag for a lower high. To me, this looks very corrective. If we have... Let's see here. I don't remember if it's 265. 3. So this is a new high right here. So if this is somehow an impulse wave to the downside, then maybe we just see a zigzag. But either way, we'll get a nice trade in here if we can get a pullback. That would be a very nice entry. I think whether SPX or SPY makes a new high or not, I think that BTC, Bitcoin's going to see a new high. Okay, let's get into those scenarios here. Let's get into the nitty gritty, show some beautiful scenarios. Okay, first, since I'm not bullish, but just because we were showing that situation and this is a wedge, this matters just as much. So whether you're bull or bear, I think our likely situations are going to be very similar here. And this wave 2, so let's look into this closer. Okay, so we will be counting this as a 1. Then you have a flat pattern in here for a 2, 3, and then another flat for 4, and then a 5. So this is forming a diagonal, whether you're bullish or bearish. And so this, to me, looks like a wave 1 or an A, and then to our B or 2 if you're a bull, and then you should see a measured move. Now this is a 50-60%. This can go all the way down to the 8-8. It's going to look the same. No matter what, it's going to look the same as the bearish scenario, even if it comes deeper than this. But if it's bullish, I think this is more likely to hold in this zone, right where we were talking about. Look at that, 509. We were talking about 510, 511. That's right in this zone. Okay, and then if that holds, then we could get new highs right off the bat. Now that's going to take time, of course. But if we start to break above these retracements, then our wave 3 should take us to about 625. All right, now for our flat pattern. Here's where I sit. Now, I look at this as a corrective move for an A. We still have the wedge. That's what matters, the wedge. An A, the wedge breaks down into a B. We have no idea what level this B is going to pull back to. All right, but when we start to see it hold, and we start to see some bullish tendencies and oversold situations and all the indicators and such, then we start to see price action move to the upside. It should be impulsive, and we should get to our retracements. Doesn't have to get at this point. We're so close to the 62% retracement. If we get a big correction here down lower, it still could take us to the 62, but I think it would be more likely that it takes us a lot deeper to the 786. You get an impulse move here. So bull or bear, it's going to look the same. It's going to look impulsive. All right. So those are the two scenarios where you're bull or bear, where they look the same. Here's our alternate situation if we're much more bullish on our move here and the wedge holds and we break out from the wedge to the upside. That's where we still have our A, our B, and this looks like a 5-wave move here for impulse 1 instead of that C wave, a 1, and we should pull back to 2, and we should hold this trend, this potential trend line, and then 3, 4, 5, and go directly to our retracements. So that's a direct movement there. Again, I'm not really in that camp when you have this nice wedge like that, but we'll see. And so if price makes it to a new low, we're no longer counting it as like the 5th wave or such. All we're doing is calling it an expanded B. So what we're going to do is this structure here was an A, B, C into a higher degree A. And then our B makes a new low into that 470 area. And then our C is a 5-wave impulse move that's going to look like a very bullish move, okay? Now, this is if it follows what IWM is doing, all right? And we get an expanded flat for a correction. This would be a corrective move. This 5-wave move will be impulsive. That 5th wave would be up there. So then you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-wave move up to those higher retracements that we'll have labeled later on, and I don't have labeled here. So those are the scenarios where the wedge breaks. All of them but one have it to where the wedge breaks. We test the lows, whether it makes a new low or not. That still means the same thing. And then we have a 5-wave move up. All right, I hope all that helps. It's a lot of info, but we're trying to keep this just very, very clean and sharp. Now all the charts are coming together. Okay. So here's our traditional look. Moving averages are holding up here so far, but I do think we're getting our turn. I think this 5-wave move looks complete, whether it's a 1 or a C, whatever the case is, looks complete there. We have our MACD getting a crossover here. We're starting to see the red histogram. Okay. So that's getting to be bearish. We have the 3 peak here. Bearish divergence. Today we had the bearish divergence start to play out with the slow stoke, so that's heading lower. Tailwind is to the downside now. D-mark, that was really consistent. You had our 9 count sell, 9 count sell, 9 count, a little bit higher, but then selling. Looking good. That D-mark has been working out well. Awesome oscillator. Maybe showed some divergence there. I don't know. But that's starting to show some red bars. And that new high. That should oscillate all the way at least to the 0 line. And our money flow index on the 65-minute, there's no overbought, no oversold. Our Bollinger Bands, got to the Bollinger Band. Maybe you missed it by a tick. No, got to it. And sold with bearish divergence. That's a sell signal on the 65. All right, we're not going to go through the other names, no need to. That's all the information I wanted to show you. I think all the wedge pattern has given us, and those are in individual names as well, has given us the clue, and the market's all coming together. And I think this is likely to break down, make some sort of test of the lows, and then we can see a higher degree correction and or new all-time highs, right? If you're a bull and price is relentless to the upside. Okay, well, thanks for watching us here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, consider becoming a YouTube member. Any one of the members, you get the Discord, and we'd love to see you in there.